have a waiting list. I just want to ask, has anyone ever heard of this book, Capturing the Moon? It's a book of Jewish short stories. I used to use this. I went to a conference once upstate, and I met the author, and he signed the front for me. But it's a beautiful collection of Jewish short stories. It's by Rabbi Ed Feinstein, and there's one that's really appropriate for today. They're short. And sometimes I use these stories even in teaching in, when I teach my English classes for BOCES, because they have a point, for the holidays. And there's one called The Diamond. And if I had time today, I would read it to you. Now, did anyone try the little matching exercise?
Yes.
All right, let's see what you got. And, okay, all right, I have the sheet here. I have the answer key. All right. You should not have found it too difficult.
Oh, the match one. I didn't try it.
The difficult thing for me is writing in print. For me, it's really like writing a foreign language doing print. I'm so used to writing Hebrew script. All right. So, Diane, you want to try your hand at it?
Sure. Let me flip out a couple pages. I'm trying to get organized here.
Okay.
Got everything set up in a binder.
Yeah. Last week, some people said they didn't get the customs, so I resent that one because people said, "Oh, I didn't get that," so I sent that out again. So there's a whole bunch of stuff.
And I printed it and realized I already had it printed out, so I did it twice. All right. You want me to do number one?
I want you to do the whole thing.
Oh, the whole thing. Okay.
Whole thing.
All right. So number one, Yom Hadin,
Mhm.
I put as I.
Good. Do you know what anyone know what Yom Hadin means? What's Yom?
Today.
Day, like Yom Kippur, the day of repentance. Din. Now you remember Moshe Dayan?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that was in the 6-Day War. Dayan, not Dayan is a judge. Din is judgment. So it's the day of judgment, Yom Hadin. So I just wanted to point out a few things about the names. So the names of Rosh Hashanah. So there's Rosh Hashanah, right? And then there's Yom Hadin, the day of judgment. And then there's Yom Teruah. And what does that mean? Yom Teruah. The day of blowing. This year, Rosh Hashanah begins on Friday night. The first day of Yom Kippur will be on Shabbat. So ordinarily there's 100 blasts of the shofar. You'll have to wait until the second day. You'll have to attend the second day too, because you won't hear the shofar until the second day, which would be on Sunday. Okay, so if you're wondering what happened to the shofar, that's why. They can't play a musical instrument. All right, so there's there's something that always irks me. And it is, and even the president of the synagogue will do this. They'll go and they want to wish somebody a good New Year, and they say L'Shana Tova. That's not the complete statement. I want you to say it correctly. L'Shana Tova means for a good year. But for a good year, what? A tire? I mean, what does that mean? So the whole saying is L'Shana Tova Tikatevu. Tikatevu from Kotev. Hi, Francine. Good to see you.
Hi, Carol. Good to see you both.
So Tikate from the verb lichtov, Kotev, which is a kaf, a tav, and a vet. That means right. Tikatevu is actually in the plural. So you can say that to a group of people. You say L'Shana Tova for a good year. Tikatevu. You will be inscribed in what? In the Sefer Chaim, in the Book of Life. So L'Shana Tova, don't just say that, because it gets me always crazy when people they say to me, L'Shana Tova, what? go gay Haken Kappenwand? What? Francine knows what I mean.
Well, I get the gist of it.
Means go go knock your head in the wall.
Nice.
Aken, cup is your head and vant is the wall. So, Lishana Tova Tikatevu. Now, on Yom Kippur, the greeting changes because everywhere on the prayers where it says, Kotev, Tikatevu, you will be written, it's Techatemu. So it's Chatima Tova. And it would be, actually, it's Gamar, that means finish up, from the verb ligmor, like the Gemara. Gamar Chatima Tova. Finish up a good sealing, right? In the book of life, that kind. All right. Gamar, finish up. Chatima, a sealing. Tova. So the greeting changes. And while if someone says to you, L'shana tova tikatevu, that's already happened. Now you want to be sealed because the book is going to close. And actually, the last time you can do this repentance work is actually on Shmini Atzeret, which is the 8th day of Sukkot, which is a 9-day holiday ending with Simchat Torah. So that's like the back door. You can still get it in then if you haven't done it in the previous Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Okay. So then during the services, and today we'll see, there's many times they say the way repentance, teshuvah, can be achieved is by 3 things. Teshuvah, actually teshuvah means return to a meritorious life, teshuvah. I used to tell my students, this is how you remember that word, tissue box. Teshuvah, repentance. Tefillah, prayer, going to synagogue. And tzedakah. So that we're going to see in the prayer that I want to do today, which is a very significant prayer and very solemn. Because this one lays it out. This one gives you what's going to happen. This one says, who will do this, who will die this way, and who will die this way. Who will live like this, and who will die like that. And this is the one that I'm getting chills just thinking of it because it's a very serious accounting. And of course, we're supposed to do the accounting on ourselves. And remember that there's two things going on. There's sins between man and man you have to do face to face and go to the cemetery and also say your I'm sorry is there. The other thing is between you and God, and that you do in the synagogue service and prayer. Okay, so there's no avoiding actually going up to somebody that you had a fight with or in the family and saying, I'm sorry. With a lot of these guys, who the one today just got in, he just got his penalty for sedition or whatever at the Capitol. I think he got 17 years or something like
Yeah,
that.
he did.
I would like some of these jokers to say, I'm sorry. I regret what I did. It was wrong. I was led astray. I don't know if I'm dealing with any Republicans here, but no matter what you are, what party you belong to, especially at this time of year, we are very sensitive to. If you did something like that, you bashed in the door so people could start entering the Capitol building and terrorize people that have been elected leaders in Congress and kill people and name them. But I'd like somebody to say, I'm sorry, what I did was wrong. I haven't heard that. So it's sad. That's a sad thing, but we should be better than that. Okay, so continue. Yom Hadin, that was I. We're looking, Francine, we're looking at the little quiz on the bottom of the page with the vocabulary. Okay, this is,
Okay.
okay, good. All right, Francine, did you do it?
I did that, yes.
Okay, so who will live? What's
Gee,
right? and it's mi yichye. And you see in the middle of that word, you see the letter a chet and a yud. Chai, right in the middle, right? Am Yisrael Chai, the nation of Israel lives. So start getting used to recognizing the shoresh, and you'll have much more of an idea what the prayers are actually saying. And then it's like thunderbolt, like, oh my goodness, I actually I get this. I understand I really know what it says. And that is an amazing feeling. Okay, number 3, poor.
Is that
Everybody get
F?
that?
Is it F?
Diane?
Ani?
Yeah, now,
No, Ani is I, no.
okay, right. Ani
This
is
is
I. That
good.
word is pronounced oni. I think it has a kamatz, and I think I put a patach. It's oni. Oni means poor. Okay. The next one is rich, the opposite.
I
Is that
should.
A?
Hey,
Ashir. Ashir is
What is
rich.
it? I'm sorry.
It's A, Ashir.
Oh, Ashir.
Yeah. Okay, so 5. Now we're looking at how we're going to die. Who will die by fire? Fire is
Aish?
Aish. Good.
Oh.
In California, there's an organization, a Jewish organization, which is more conservative. It's more towards Hasidism, but it's not completely there. But it's leaning that way. I guess it's like it's not conservative. It's much more orthodox, and it's more from orthodox, and it's called Aish HaTorah. Aish HaTorah is, I've been to their services, which are very nice. They did have a mechitza, women on one side and men on the other, but they had somebody in the front, right in the middle between the two sides, and there was a pole, and he showed the page number, so both sides could keep track of where we were, and it was friendly to women. It was I liked it. That was Steven Spielberg's synagogue, and his mother's restaurant was right behind it. It was in Los Angeles, so I probably still is. Sword. Who will die by sword?
E. Is it Cherev?
Cherev. Yeah,
Cherev.
Cherev is a sword. Cherev. Good. 7 is who will die?
Miyamut.
Miyamut. And then 8 is prayer, the word for prayer.
Tefillah.
Ela?
Yeah.
Good. And the last one was repentance.
I didn't get any
Shema?
of that.
Teshuvah.
Okay, you can give yourself 100. Good. Because I picked out words which are important and which will be in this prayer. Okay. So let's take a look at it. Unatane Tokef. This is one of the really big ones, very important. And let's take now the introduction. In our synagogue, the cantor sings it like this: the Rosh Hashanah yikatevun uviyom tzom kippur yechatemun. And he repeats that a few times. The Rosh Hashanah yikatevun uviyom tzom kippur yechatemun, which means on Rosh Hashanah yikatevun, you will be inscribed. It's in the plural, and on the day of Tzom is a fast. Tzom Kippur, the day of the fast of atonement, Yom Kippur, Yechatemun. You will be stamped in, you will be sealed. And so that's the refrain. And then, I don't know if you have the book, but on the bottom, I believe, of the handout, or the next page, yeah, and then it says, in black letters on the next page, 143. Tzedakah, on the bottom of the page. Uteshuva, utefila, utzedakah, ma'avirin et roa hagazera. And repentance and prayer and charity avert ma'avirin et roa hagazera. the evil decree. And the evil decree was what we had just been reading. So let's take a look at it and see what it says. Okay, kama means how many. When you're in Israel and you're in the market and you want to know how much something costs, you say, Slicha Adoni, kama ze ole? How much does this cost? Kama ze, how much is this? Kama, how much money? Kama kesef, kesef is money. Kama. So this is modern Hebrew. I want to tell you that the words in the prayer book that we're using, this is not, only there's some few prayers that are in Aramaic, but this is modern Hebrew. So once you start recognizing the shoresh, you can start deciphering this. You can look over at the English and go, oh, yeah, it corresponds in my brain. It's not just words. It's not just a sound. It's a meaning. Kama Ya'avrun. Now, ayin vet resh. Aver means to cross over. And the word ivrit means those who crossed over the Jordan River to get to the promised land. Ivrim, ivrit. So those who crossed over were Jews. All right, ivrim, that was the word for us. And our language was ivrit. We crossed over. It also means past. As we say, somebody died in a polite way. I was at my doctor the other day, and his father, I know, was in his 90s, in his high 90s. And I inquired after him. I said, so how's your dad? And he said he passed. And I go, oh, I'm so sorry, because when I first went to this doctor, urologist, he was in practice with his dad. And I know he was very close with his dad. And he said he passed. And he said they killed him in the hospital. They did a procedure, some kind of thoracic thing, and they punctured his windpipe or whatever, and he bled out. And it was just, to hear, I'm sure this doctor, he's very angry about that. I don't know if he'll press any kind of charges, but so kama ya'avrun, how many will pass? And kama, how many? Yibare'un. Yibare'un will mean to be created. Bara, bet, resh, aleph is the root to be created. Bereshit, in the beginning. Genesis, Bereshit, in the beginning. So it means to be born. Bereshit bara, in the beginning, created. Bara, Elohim et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz. So that's the beginning of the Torah. Bereshit, in the beginning. And you have the root rosh. Bereshit bara, created. Adonai, et hashamayim, the heaven, ve'et ha'aretz. So baraz, create. So how many will pass, will die, and how many will be created, will be born? How many will die and how many will be born? And then it goes on and it really zings us. Now, the word me means who? W-H-O, referring to person. Mi yichyeh. So what do you think that means? See the root chai in the middle? We're talking about living and dying.
Life.
Okay, so what would
Where
the verb
are
be?
you?
I'm on page 143.
Line two.
Yeah, line 2. Mi yichyeh umi yamut. Who will?
And who will die?
Yamut is die, and what's the opposite? So all these words are in opposite here.
Who will live and who will die?
Right, and right in the middle of yichyeh, you see the root chai, right? There it is.
Right.
A lot of people have a big chai, they wear it as a pendant. So
That's my Hebrew name. Chaya.
Chaya?
Mhm.
Ah, nice. Mi yichyeh umi yamut. Then it goes mi bekitso umi lo bekitso. Kitso, I have an abridged version of the code of Jewish law. It's called the Shulchan Aruch, which is funny. Shulchan is a table, like where the
Yeah.
by stands or where they have the Torah. Aruch means prepared. So that was a commentary by Joseph Cairo, who was a Sephardic Jew. Years later, there was a commentary on his work, and it was called Hamapa, which means the tablecloth. He was covering the other guy. I mean, Jews are crazy that way, right? It's so, intelligent. I mean, they're so witty, like always thinking, the hamapa, the tablecloth, covered the other guy's stuff and commented on that. So who in a short span, Bekitsur, so that was called a Kitsur Shulchan Aruch, the abbreviated. So what it did was it had all the laws from the Torah. Okay. Mi bekitso, umi lo bekitso. So who will have a short lifetime and who will have a long, who will not have a short lifetime? Okay. I mean, when I read this, it's very scary stuff. And then it says, okay, so who will live a long life and who will come to an untimely end? And now they go and they spell it out. Mi va'esh, who by fire, umi v'mayim. Now, you know this terrible tragedy that happened in Maui. And I'm sure there were people who could not outrun that raging fire. And there were probably a lot of people who died by fire. Even when my shower is too hot, I'm uncomfortable. You can imagine that's a terrible death. Remember the rocket with a female astronaut many years ago, and it exploded.
Yeah. Mhm.
Challenger.
The Challenger. Mi va'esh, who by fire, which is not a nice death. And don't forget, the Romans used to tie people up, and they had fire under their feet, like Rabbi Akiva, and they burned at the stake, right? Mi va'esh u'mi va'mayim. So who by fire and who by water?
Water.
Remember, in my synagogue, there was a woman whose husband was down at Port Jefferson, and that goes into Long Island Sound, and the car went right down on the by the dock and into the water. I don't know if they ever found if it was on purpose or just accidental. So drowning. And you know that they had I think they found it illegal, but the dunking of the head, waterboarding.
Waterboarding, yeah. Mhm.
I think that was outlawed. But I don't know. They used to do it, I think, at Guantanamo. Anyway, who by fire and who by water? These are gruesome deaths, right?
Mm.
Who perished by fire and who by water? Then it says mi b'charev. Charev is a sword. Now I don't know who's going to be killed by a sword. We're not in the
Well, a knife.
yeah. Well, in New York City, people going on the subways. I haven't been on the subway in a long time. I don't want to go on the subway because there's crazy people out there.
It's a shame.
Erev, who by sword, umi v'achaya, and who by a wild animal, by a beast. So every once in a while you hear of somebody getting too close to the bears, or, in one of the national parks, and they want to take a picture. That's a big mistake. Mi bara'av, who by hunger, umi by sama, and who by thirst. And we always see on television these ads for all these save the children in Africa. They don't have food. Babies are dying. They're malnourished. Who by ra'av, hunger, umi by sama, and who by thirst. Okay, also not pleasant. Now, mi Vara'ash. Now, on Purim we go Havana Risha, rush. So what kind of a death is this? What is Ra'ash?
Is it wicked?
No. Ra'ash is a noise. It's
Noise.
the sound of a noise. It's an earthquake. It's
Oh my
Ra'ash.
goodness.
That's what I mean. It's interesting, the words. Who by earthquake? The noise of an earthquake, the rumbling, right? Umi b'magefa, and who by plague? Well, we recently had COVID-19, and that's a plague. If you ask me, a lot of people died with that. Mi v'chanika, who by strangling. Umi v'skila, and who will be stoned. And that was we just talked about that in last week's Torah portion, that an unruly son who's above the age of 13 can be stoned to death. That was in last week's Parsha, Ki Titze. Okay, so strangling, that does not sound like fun. And stoning, that's, hi Charlene,
Morning. Sorry, ladies.
mi yanua, mi yanuach, or mi yanua, and they're very similar looking, but yanuach is to be comfortable. And yanua is to be not comfortable. It's a troubled. Okay, so that final chet changes the word. Okay. Miyashkit. Now, as a Hebrew school teacher, or as any kind of a teacher, you always say to these kids, sheket bavakasha. And then they would go, sheket bavakasha. Hey. Sheket, like in a library. Silence, please. Sheket. Okay. So, miva, okay. Yeah, mi yashkit. So here it means who will live a calm, a quiet, a tranquil life. Okay. Who will live quietly, nobody bothering you. Umi yitoraf, and who will be troubled. Okay. Yashkit, you want to have a nice, calm life. You don't want to have all kinds of troubles and service in your life, right? Mishalev. Okay, who will be tranquil? Shalev is like equal. Umi yit yaser, and who will be tormented. I think the word for a hurricane comes from that verb. Mi ya'ani. So it really would be mi ya'oni, umi ya'ashir. So you have the who will be poor and who will be rich. And mi yushpal, I don't know that. Oh, who will be brought low? Umi yarum. Like you know the Romima Adonai Eloheinu. Okay, so Romima means exalt, lift God up. Romimu, you will be exalted. Okay. Mi yashpal umi yarum. And then who will be brought low and who will be exalted, who will be honored, like and who will not, who will be indicted, who will be dishonored, and who will be honored and exalted. Okay. Now, one of the things in Judaism to strive for, as I've been told, is a shem tov, a good reputation. And that's supposed to be like a crown that you wear, a good reputation. In other words, how do you get a good reputation? By doing good deeds. How do you find good deeds to do? I found that they're all around every day. They're all around me, opportunities. I once said to myself, well, how will I find a good deed to do? And then it's all around me. So here's an example. Our synagogue, our sisterhood was through Ort selling jars of honey that you could order and send to people you know. So there's one woman who likes me a lot. She comes over to talk to me all the time. I think may have been last year. I invited her. Her son died when he was young, like 18. And her husband, she was divorced from her husband. I think he may have passed also. So we knew that she was going to be alone on the holidays. So we invited her to come for a Rosh Hashanah dinner. Well, she was so thrilled with that spend it with the family. So that's a kind of small things.
There is an email that goes out. It's called a daily dose of kindness. Have
Mhm.
you seen that? And people send in stories about the kindnesses that they've done. And there's a lot of little bitty things that people
A
can.
lot of things. It's everywhere. All you have to do is open your eyes. It really is everywhere a kindness. And it doesn't have to be something big, because that little thing may mean a lot to somebody. Now, so she sent me the honey, and on Purim, we used to send really bags of shalach manot, but I always send her, you know, and now they send a scroll, because they found that some people don't want all the candy and stuff like that. So I always put her on my list and I send a lot of people. Maybe I send like 25 people, but I always include her, because I know that she's, you know, she lives alone, and it's nice when somebody's thinking of you, you know. So this is a time of year when they talk about tzedakah a lot, and I maintain tzedakah is not just money; it's an act of kindness. Tzedek, a tzaddik. A tzaddik is a person who's a righteous person, right? And you want to be the female for that is tzedeket. It's tzedeket. And it's so easy to do. And now in the time of holidays, invite somebody for dinner, send them a card, give them a call. Really, it's not so hard, you know? This is the time of year where it should be right in the front of the head. And you'll see so many opportunities. The rabbi said that he was forming a little committee to go to the local senior residents and the assisted living part. There's where people are retired, they live independently, and then there's a assisted living. And he had a request from the director of recreation. She wanted to know if some people could come from the synagogue and come once a month and do either like a little modified Shabbat service, or if there's a holiday, do something for the holiday, songs or something. So he was asking for people, so I wrote back to him and I said, I would love to do that. So guess I'm the point person. So I kind of planned the first meeting, and we're going to go September 22nd. We're going to go the week after Rosh Hashanah, because the ladies on it said they're going to be cooking on Erev Rosh Hashanah, so they don't want to do it that Friday. So I planned already. I'll read a story. We'll do some questions. What's your favorite memory? We'll do some of the prayers, you know, that I've been teaching you for Rosh Hashanah. You can't light real candles. So they usually have like on the cruise that I went on, there's an electric thing that you turn the base, you turn it on. But we'll say the blessing for candle lighting, and we'll do the blessing for the children. And I told the person in charge, go get some challah. And she said, and we'll have wine and we'll have grape juice. So everybody knows what they are allowed to eat, you know. And I said, and you should really have some apples and honey. So we'll say the prayer for the new year, we'll say the blessing on fruit, we'll do all of those things. And I'm going to ask the question of these people. Don't forget, assisted living, I don't know what shape these people are in, some better than others. I'm going to ask them, what is their favorite memory or memories of the high holidays? And I'll bet I'll hear something about my Zeta and my booby when I went to shul with them. I'll bet I'm going to hear something like that, or about their grandma's cooking at the grandma's house. I'm betting I'm going to hear that. So I said, okay, I'll chair this little group. So I didn't know this was coming down the pike, but he said, who wants to do it? And I said, yeah, I'll come to the meeting, and there you know. Okay, you're it. Tag, you're it. Okay, so we don't have to do the next thing, but this is very pretty. Does someone want to read? Oh, did I send that to you? 144. I didn't send it. Each person's origin is dust, and each person will return to the earth having spent life seeking sustenance. Scripture compares human beings to a broken shard. Shard is a piece of pottery. Withering grass, a shriveled flower, a passing shadow, a fading cloud, a fleeting breeze, scattered dust, a vanishing dream. And you are the sovereign living God, ever present. The Atah hu Melech El Chai V'Kayam. What do you think about those images? Not exactly happy. It makes us seem like we are very tiny infinitesimal, right? In the scope of things in the universe. We're a little flower, we're a passing cloud, very ephemeral, right? Not too substantive. Now, I was given a book by a friend who was moving, and she it was by Rabbi Abraham Tversky, and I read a little bit about the high holidays, and I wanted to share a little bit with you. He said, this is the birth of the world when we all pass before God. This is the beginning of the man, the sixth day of creation. We were an unfinished product until we rose above our animal status. Man has the ability to learn from his mistakes. You can ask Chatty Cathy, Charlene, if she learns from her mistakes.
I don't think so.
We have the ability to reason and reflect on the consequences of our actions. And actually, that's what this holiday is all about. We have the ability to do chesed, acts of kindness. God is our witness and our judge. We are individuals, not like a herd of sheep. We must keep our individuality like Abraham. I mean, he went against the grain, against the current, right? We must not avoid making decisions. So be like Abraham, not afraid to make decisions, not afraid to stand up for what you believe is right, not afraid to be countercurrent. And you're not a sheep. That's comforting. Then he said, if a person forgets he has sinned, it means he does not appreciate the gravity of it. However, if he remembers it and agonizes over it, this is humility. Then you have done teshuvah. So I thought there was some very profound insights there, Rabbi Tversky. All right, now, some of you, I gave you a story.
Yeah, and it was hard.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
hard.
Very hard.
Very hard. However, what this book gives you is, they give you vocabulary. I gave you the vocabulary. And then they also have some of the translations on the bottom. So let's practice reading. We have time to practice the reading. It's called Mechila u'Mechila. Slicha u'Mechila. Oh, by the way, next Saturday night is Slichot. And the following week is Rosh Hashanah. It's coming up, it's in our face, ladies. So I told you my younger son said he's going to come for Rosh Hashanah. He said, because then is good eats. He said, why have I been coming for Yom Kippur and the fast? After many years, he finally got it right. Okay, so forgiveness and pardon. It says forgiveness and pardon are the theme of Yom Kippur prayers. Yom Kippur prayers may procure pardon only for transgressions against God. For evils we have committed against our neighbors, we must right the wrongs before atonement may come. I think this story is from a short story. So let's see if we can read it. Okay, and then using what is the given, let's see if you can piece together some of this, all right? All right, it's cool. It says, Be'erev Yom HaKippurim. On the evening, Erev is like the night before Yom Kippur, Erev, like Erev Shabbat is tonight. Who would like to try their hand at some Hebrew reading, some of my intermediate? All right, Denise, go for it.
I need practice. Okay.
Wait a
the
minute, I
title-
think I pulled, hold, I think I pulled the wrong. I think I have the wrong copy.
Are we talking this thing that's called Hadima? Is that what you're saying?
No,
That's the one I have.
Kadima?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Page 72 and 73.
yeah, 72 and 73. It's called,
Oh, did I give you the wrong pages? Oh. You gave the
Well-
wrong pages. All right, well, you can work on it. Next week we can translate. All right, let's go back to this prayer, and I want to see you slowly. I want to see you read. Now, we went over the words. Go back to 143, and this prayer is called Unatane Tokef, and I think it's one of the most searing and serious of all the prayers on Yom Kippur, because it is, well, when you look at the words, so we just went over the words, and it's very sobering, right? We don't know how we're gonna die. I'm hoping I'll die in my bed. My dog next to me.
How is your dog, by the way? Did it turn out to be cancer?
It turned out to be cancerous, and since it was on the bottom palate, the surgeon, and these are very fine doctors, said she couldn't be 100%, that she got everything because there's not tissue to work with, because she had to sew them up.
Mm.
So we have an appointment with don't laugh, a doggy oncologist from an animal specialty hospital next Monday. And they're gonna ship the records over. It could be that there's no problem. It could be, they have a shot, actually, there's a vaccination. I have no idea how much this would cost, but the operation for the tumor, that was $4,000.
Ooh,
Lord, I know.
And you know what? I didn't flinch. I handed
would-
over my credit card. And he's running around happy as could be, eating up a storm. I babied him for 2 weeks. I blended everything. I made him special chicken soup and put it in the blender. I gave him cottage cheese. I gave him applesauce. I gave him my yogurt. I gave him anything soft. I gave him Cheerios and milk. And he was a happy guy. His head was usually in my plate. And he looks fine. So we'll find out if there's anything that can be done, preventative, or maybe just to wait. I should look in his mouth, I guess. It could be go to another part of his body too. I don't know, but for now he's happy as could be. We'll see.
Good.
Okay, so in the black, the Rosh Hashanah, I want someone to read that. Who's gonna read that? Francine, can you read that where it says Barosh Hashanah?
Rosh Hashanah Yikatevu V'bayom
Ooh,
Uvayom Sum
some.
Som Kippur
Mhm.
Yatata Moon
Yechatemun. You will see.
Yechatemun. It's
Okay,
very
so that's a line that's going to be said a lot. So repeat after me. The Rosh Hashanah
the Rosh Hashanah
Yikatevon
Yikatevu
Uviyom Tzom Kippur
Uyom Som Kippur
Yechatemun.
Yechatemun.
So the melody that I did before, da 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 da, is that familiar?
Yes.
Try that, and they do that a lot, so let's try that. Look at the words. We'll go really slowly, see if you can do it with the melody. Okay, achat shtayim shalosh Berosh Hashanah Rosh Hashanah Yikatevon. Then it goes like that again. Berosh
Hashanah
Hashanah Yikatevon. Da-da, 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 da-da. Let's try it. Berosh
Hashanah
Hashanah Yikatevon Uviyom Tzom Kippur Yechatemun. And that keeps repeating, and they probably repeat it several times. Your cantors. That's familiar, right?
Right.
Now we get how many will die this way, how many that way. No, but nowhere does it say you could die in your bed. I'm waiting for that one. I don't see a prayer that says you could die at home in your bed. That's what I'm gonna wish for. Okay, so each one will take one line. Diane, take the first comma, take the first one, and then Dorothy, you'll take the second one. Okay.
Kamo Ya'arun V'kamo Yiboreu.
Very nice. Dorothy, me,
Ni Ye umi yamut.
Very good. Denise,
Mi vekitso. Umi lo vekatso.
why did you change the vowel? Vekitso.
Oh, vekitso.
So who will live short life? Kitsor is short. And who, u is and, me, who. Lo, not vekitso.
Oh, okay. No,
And, okay. And who will, okay, who will live, actually, it means short.
Mhm.
Okay, and Francine,
Mi va'esh umi va'ayim.
what's the word for water?
Mayim,
Vamayim.
the mayim.
Okay. Charlene,
I don't have it. I sent you an email. I only got 2 pages.
Oh,
you know, what's wrong with that? Because everybody else got all their pages. You know,
Must be my
Charlene,
system.
well,
I got the
Charlene,
English part.
okay, what you need to do to prepare for the holidays, because it's a long period of time, get this book, ask your rabbi where you can get it. Okay,
Okay.
it's a machzor, and all the prayers, everything I'm getting is from the one book. And that's the one we use for the high holidays, for Rosh Hashanah, Yom
That's not
Kippur.
the one we use.
Okay, we'll get the one that you use, and then you can find the prayers in there, because in the index in the front, it's gonna say Rosh Hashanah at home, and then it's gonna say Shacharit and Musaf. Okay, it's gonna give you all the sections, and you're gonna go through that, and you're gonna find everything. Okay,
Okay.
because this is a book that you use only once a year, but you use it for a couple of weeks, for Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and throughout, and I think even with up to Sukkot. So this would be good. Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, it's a good investment. It's not expensive. Okay, Diane. Who by sword? Me?
Mi bacherev umi bachaya.
Right. Chaya is a beast, a wild animal.
Is that where
Ah.
the expression Vilda Chaya
I was
comes?
just gonna say that, a wilde chaya. Wilde means wild. A chaya. Oh, my son, he's such a wilde chaya. You know, like he's out of control. Yeah. So that just proves a lot of Hebrew is it's a mishmash. It's taken from Russian and German and Yiddish, heavy on the Yiddish. A lot of Yiddish has seeped into Hebrew, and they changed the words a little bit. Like I told you, a balabusta is a ba'alat habayit, the mistress of the house. All right, but to change your pronunciation, and then all of a sudden, it's a Hebrew word. It's not balabusta, it's ba'alat habayit. So, yeah, it helps. Okay, Dorothy, me.
mi ra'av umi vatsama.
Good. All right, Denise.
Mi varoshe
Watch the vowels.
varashe.
No,
Vara.
take
wait a
it
minute.
syllable at a time. Don't rush.
Mi varaesh.
Perfect.
There you go.
That's when you rush, that's when you make mistakes. When you really read it calmly and take it syllable at a time, you're perfect. If you know all of this, you just get flustered. Mi
Yeah,
va'ash,
Mi varaash umi mage magefa.
perfect. So you see that? That's a plague.
Okay.
That was very nice. Okay, Francine.
Mi vachanika
Good.
umi baskila.
Excellent. Okay. Diane.
Mi yonua umi yonua.
Very good. Dorothy.
Mi Oh, I wrote all over this, it's hard for me to see. Ni, ya, ye, no. It, okay, hold on a second. Ni, ya, she, kev, kav,
Okay, Yash, that's a kuf.
yeah. Rashkut,
Yash, Keet.
oh,
It's got the
Yashki.
dot and the yud.
The
That's a
trouble
E.
is I did write over it, I can read the next one.
Okay,
Umi Yitovra.
rough. That's the final thing. Good. Diane?
Mi yishalev umi yat yit yatef.
Yeet
Yeah,
ya.
safe. Yeah, safe.
Ser.
I always
Ser.
get that letter.
A samach, samach and a resh. Yeet ya ser. Good. Okay, Dorothy?
Again,
Again.
we just, the one with the tranquil, what's the other word? What's the meaning of it? Yintias there? Is it,
It says who will be tormented. Yeet
oh,
ya ser.
tormented.
Tormented.
Yeah, the word tormented me.
But I think the word for a torment, a hurricane, comes from this verb.
Okay. And again, I wrote all over the vowels. Ni ya ani uni ya steer.
Sheer.
Sheer. Oh, it's a SH.
Mhm.
Me ya sheer.
Good, good. Denise?
Me, Yushapal,
Yush.
Uh,
Paul. Good. That's a play. Very good.
Umi Romimu.
No, not in Roman who comes from this, but it doesn't.
Oh, yeah, see,
Syllable at a time.
yeah, Rome.
Yeah,
Right.
room. Okay. So when
Room.
you rush, that's when you get yourself crazy. You get yourself.
Oh, I
nervous.
heard you say Romimu, and that one I know, and it's stuck in my
Right,
head.
Roman, okay. But when you take your time, you know your letters, you know your vowels, and you get it right. Syllable at a time. When I'm learning a Torah portion and I come across words that I've never seen before and I don't know the roots and I know nothing about them, I read it slowly. I repeat it to myself a couple of times and I write it out. I write it out in Hebrew, you know, in script. And then next to it, I write it phonetically. Like Romamu, I would put Rome, like Roam, Rome, Ma, Mu. And then I practice saying it correctly, Romamu. And then it comes to me, Romamu.
Romamu.
Yeah, but if you don't know something, you know, I use mnemonic devices. I write down all kinds of crazy things that it sounds like to me, what that word sounds like, and then I write it down, and that's how I study the word. It doesn't always work. Sometimes I get up there and, and I look and I go, what the heck is that word? But okay, now here is the bottom line of all this stuff. So who wants to read about how we can avert the evil decree? All right, go ahead. Go for it, Diane.
Ut teshuva, ut tefillah, ut tzedakah, ma'avirin et ra'ah hagzera.
Right. Okay. I want to hear everybody say this. Uteshuva,
Uteshuva,
utefila,
utefila,
utsedaka,
utsedaka,
ma'avirin,
ma'avirin,
et roa,
et roa,
hagzera.
hagazera.
Right. Okay. And then, like I said, then it says, but teshuva, tefillah, and tzedakah have the power to transform the harshness of our destiny. And then it goes on. It goes on, you know, well, but that's the part that everybody, oh. Okay, don't have it. All right, now, if you wanted to, I wanted to go over the blessings for the, again. Let's see, okay, Erev Yom Kippur. Number 98. Okay, does anyone know or remember of your grandparents or anyone that you have of doing that swinging the chicken around? That's called kaparot. You know, in Yiddish, it's kaporis, schlugen kaporis. You've heard of that, Francine?
Yes,
Yes.
but I've never done it and I've never seen it and I don't want to.
So when my daughter became Hasidic, she went to Brooklyn and she said they actually did this. And it says, "This is in my stead. May this be my substitute. May this be my atonement to poor chicken. This money will go to tzedakah that I may enter the path to a good, long life and to peace." Well, animal activists would not would not think it's such a great action. It's schlucken kapor. There's a short story that I read about the chickens revolt that they want to fight against it. They want to fight because they don't want to go around like that. Schlucken kapor. Anyway, all right. So Erev, okay, so just the candle lighting, let me just read to you the blessing on I didn't send this to you, but Hadlakat Nerot. So Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Yom HaKippurim instead of saying Shabbat. Now, if it's on Shabbat, if Erev Yom Kippur is, then you'll say Shabbat, Shel Shabbat, the Yom HaKippurim. Okay, so that's and then you're supposed to say the Shehechianu Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Shehechianu, that brought us alive, Vikimanu, sustaining us, Vihikianu, bringing us, Lazman Hazeh. Zman is a time. Lazman Hazeh. Lazman Hazeh. Okay, so that's, and then that's when we light the memorial candles or side candles. Okay, Erev Yom Kippur. I think you also light it on I think on Shmini Atzeret too. Your side candles, right? All right, and they have the blessing of the children is the same. All the rest is the same. Oh, one of the things in your shul, look carefully when you get your tickets when Kol Nidre begins. When does Kol Nidre come?
It comes Erev Yom Kippur.
Right.
I mean, the night that when it starts.
Yeah. So you have to start your fast if you are going to fast. Have an early dinner because usually you have to be in order to hear Kol Nidre, which is very beautiful. Usually you have to be there by 6:30. You have to be there early. If you come late to service, like 8 o'clock, you've missed it. And it's one of the highlights of the year. It's a beautiful thing. And it goes here. You know how Kol Nidre originated? Anybody know that? It goes back to the Inquisition in Spain when Jews had to pretend that they were Christians. They had to hang like sausages and hams, in their house for curing. And they came to Yom Kippur, and they asked God's forgiveness for having to pretend to be Christian. They had to go to church. They had to kneel. I don't know if they couldn't wash their clothes on a Friday. That was when Jewish people would wash their sheets, change the linens and clean the house, because that was one of the telltale sites that it was a Jewish family. A bris had to be done in a basement someplace, hidden, because again, a pidyon haben, redemption of the firstborn at the end of the first month of life, and also a brit milah at the end of 8 days. They were spied on all the time, and they could be turned in for that. And that would mean going to be burned at the stake by Torquemada. So it says all vows, renunciations, bans, oaths, formulas of obligation, pledges, and promises that we vow or promise to ourselves and to God from this Yom Kippur to the next, may it approach us for good, we hereby retract. They are renouncing all these false oaths that they made to another God. And it's something like this. Kol nidre v'yesarei v'charame v'kol name v'kinu yeh v'kinu say. And it's a very mournful. I love to hear that when the cantor sings that, and that's what it is. And then the cantor says, "Salachna la'avon ha'am," forgive the sin avon of the nation, of all of us. The entire congregation of the people of Israel shall be forgiven, as well as the stranger who dwells among them, for we have all erred. And then it says, leader in the congregation, say this 3 times. Vayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha. And then Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechiyanu v'kimanu v'higyanu lazman hazeh. So, there's a lot of formulaic prayers, very beautiful. Get there early for that. That's really important. And I was looking for, I wanted to make sure. So again, when you wish somebody a good new year, it's L'shana tova tika tevu. Don't forget the tika tevu. Think of me saying tika tevu. Because otherwise, L'shana tova, I'm going, what are they saying? For a good year? Drop the other shoe. What's the last word? It doesn't mean anything. Okay, Rosh Hashanah home. Okay, 29. I gave this to you, but I just wanted to go over something. Okay, so the candle lighting on Rosh Hashanah, which is coming up very soon, it would be Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel. If it's on the Sabbath, Yom Tov, which it will be, shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov. Yom Tov means a holiday. So it's going to be because Rosh Hashanah is coming on a Friday night. So we will be saying, so just don't do it by memory. Use the book. Okay. Shel Shabbat v'yom shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov. Let's see. And it's a custom to have a new fruit that you haven't had all year. So I've got that dragon fruit in my refrigerator that this guy from the Czech Republic gave me. So we go to get our kosher meat in Cedarhurst on Long Island in Nassau County. And it's crowded like anything. I have to go soon to get, I want to get my bones, my marrow bones to put in my cabbage. They have all kinds of exotic fruits and people are buying up all this stuff that I've never seen before. But it also is very common to buy a pomegranate. Why? Why a pomegranate? Has to do with the seeds. People say
Seeds are supposed to have 613, like the.
It's
Tomatoes.
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I usually get a pomegranate and now I'll have this other one. And then right, and then they had the okay, then this is very nice. For the meal, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri ha'etz. So when you're having your fruit, blessing on the fruit, pri ha'etz, of the tree. And then, this is nice, you dip your apple or whatever. Yehi ratzon milpanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Abotenu shetechadesh. May you renew aleinu, upon us, shana tova, a good year, umituka, and sweet, a good sweet year. Shana tova umituka. I told you I once had a Hebrew teacher whose name was Mituka. She was Mituka, sweetness. That's a nice name. So I think you're ready.
Carol,
Yeah.
maybe I missed this, but on Yom Kippur, don't you say, if it's on Shabbat, isn't Yom Kippur takes precedence over the Shabbat? I mean, if you have to light candles or something?
Well, the prayer book says Vishel Shabbat v'Yom did I say Yom Kippur, Yom HaKippurim? No,
Yom
Yom-
HaKippurim says,
Yom HaKippurim. Okay, yeah, Shel Shabbat v'Shel Yom HaKippurim. That's the order in the prayer book, and I just read from the Machzor.
Okay, that's good enough for
Um,
me.
Yeah, you do know that pikuach nefesh means saving a life, and if doing one of these, fasting or walking a long distance to get to shul is going to harm you, you're allowed to ride to shul. I mean, we live too far. You're allowed to ride for pikuach nefesh, saving a soul. You're supposed to live by the rules and not die by them. Okay, so if you need to take medicine and you need to take water or a little bit of food, that doesn't mean you're going to sit down for a 5-course dinner. It means you have to take medicine, so you take a piece of a cookie or a piece of bread or something, or milk, whatever you're supposed to have. If you're supposed to have food, and it means having your medicine or not, you have to take it properly. So that's perfectly okay. So you shouldn't feel, oh, I'm a sinning and then all the rest of that. Okay, so the rules are logical, and the ones who
The
make them,
The rules are made for our health.
yeah,
Mhm.
and to stay alive, to sustain you, because even
Right.
in Shehechianu, you're thanking God for bringing us Shehechianu v'kimanu and v'higianu, bringing us lahagia to this time. Well, if you're dead, you're not going to be brought to any celebration, so you need to use your common sense. I was asking my husband today if honey needs a hechsher, because there's a guy in my Hebrew class at the in my English class. He's a beekeeper and he makes honey. So we looked it up, and he's not Jewish, and I don't know if there's a hechsher on honey, but there's an OU on honey. But apparently the honey, you just have to make sure that no particles from the bees, because they're insects and you're not allowed to eat insects, fall into the honey. But they gather the pollen and they're making that, so it is okay to have that, but it shouldn't have anything else additives in it. It should be pure honey.
Mm.
Yeah. And with that, have a wonderful, and get a round challah. Don't forget the round challah with the raisins. Yeah, Denise.
This has not anything to do with Rosh Hashanah, but could you tell me how to say in Hebrew, I will fear not, for God is with me.
Isn't that from
Isaiah.
yeah, but that's from when you have a Yiska prayer.
I know Lo Ira. I think it starts that way, but I can't remember the name of it or the rest of it.
Well, Lo Ira, I will not fear. The Adonai Imi, with me.
How would you say that? Ine?
I would say Imi, with me. Imi.
Okay. I just like it. We've had some trouble with Jesse's father, and we've had to go to court, and I'm a nervous wreck when I get there, and I say that in English, but I'd rather say it in Hebrew.
I know it's time to go, but I
Yeah.
don't think I'll be able to make next week because we're going to be in Rhode Island. But I want to thank you. I've enjoyed.
Oh, you'll
very
be on the
much.
East Coast. Well, where are you, Dorothy? Where do you live?
I live in New Jersey,
Oh, okay. Rhode
outside of
Island is very
Morristown.
nice. Rhode Island is a very nice state.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
be by the shore.
This is our last. Isn't this our last class? You said that
Next week, the 8th.
Oh, next week. Okay.
Monday, my youngest, my little Chabadnik, she's 12, is having her bat mitzvah on Labor Day, so that'll be fun. And my son is flying in on Sunday from Colorado, and my daughter is here, and another son is here. There's 4 kids, and it's 2 girls and 2 boys. So the
nice.
Hasidic one is the daughter, my older daughter. So she's got 5 children. This is the youngest one. We've been through all of bat mitzvahs, bar mitzvahs, any kind of mitzvahs.
Enjoy.
I had to buy a sweater because the dress I want to wear is sleeveless. I said, "Oh, I'll be the Goyish grandma." They'll look at me like, there's no service. But it's going to be in the Chabad shul. So I bought a long sleeve hot pink cardigan to wear over my dress, and I have sandals. I'm going to make sure I wear stockings with the sandals. I don't want them to look at me up and down and go, "Oh, that one, I don't know about her." And I never. When we get together, like we go there for Passover, I never wear a kippah. I find a shmata, a doily or a beret or something to put on my head. And I feel strange because, I lead a lot of the service for Passover and I always have a yarmulke on, but be that as it may, say lo que sea, that's what Sancho Panza says to Don Quixote all the time. You got to roll with the punches. All right, have a great Shabbat. And
Thank
Shabbat
this is
shalom.
our last.
And congratulations, Denise, on your bat mitzvah.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
that's so wonderful. That's just. Do you feel different?
Yeah, I do. I feel, I don't want to say I feel more Jewish. I just feel more official.
Please. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
we're all so proud of you.
I never thought I'd be able to do it. So yeah, it was a major thing for me. So,
Yeah.
Yep. And I
Yeah.
had an Aliyah last week and I had my talit and my kippah on and and they
It's
sang
wonderful.
Shimon Tov. That was the first time
Oh, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov. Yeah. it's
oh, there were only 11 people there. We barely had a minyan.
Was
But
that
we did,
Saturday morning?
yes, yeah.
It's wonderful.
It's yeah.
Many more wonderful occasions like that. That is,
Yes.
we're
Right.
all very proud of you.
Very.
Thank you.
Worked
Thank you.
really
It was a
hard.
major accomplishment. They did a good job, Women's League. They really did. And like I said, they have a waiting list for the next class. So anybody that's interested,
I watched them come up one at a time. I saw you come up there to the bima and
Yes.
it was I saw the whole service actually once I got on.
Yeah, they just posted it on Women's League, so I may go back and watch it.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Now you have the perspective of everything. You can see how it looked from our eyes.
Yep. Yep.
All right, I will see you next week. It's our last week, and maybe I'll pick something about Sukkot. Okay.
All right. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom.
shalom.
Next week.